Okay, so I am a big Steve Martin fan. I just discovered him. I didn't just discover him, but I kind of really am starting to appreciate him in the past like year. Um, I don't know if all of you remember, but Little Shop of Horrors. He played the dentist. I'll be your dentist, and of course Saturday Night Live. All the movies from the '80s, and of course one of my favorite movies, The Jerk, which is just unbelievable. Please Netflix it, see it somehow. You have to see The Jerk. He recently came out with a book. Ding! Called Born Standing Up. Oh, Steve Martin. There we go. A Comic's Life. It is a great book. It's a quick read. It's got very big text. I don't, for his older viewers that might be reading, maybe. But no, it's great. It talks about his life, talks about the life of a comic, especially during the 60s and 70s. That was like the height of that era. I just think he's great. I think he's very funny. He's obscure, off-the-wall type humor, which I kind of appreciate. That sort of thing. That's from him. So Halloween. But when Halloween was coming around, this was before I even knew the book was coming out, I was thinking, what can I do for Halloween? What do I have? And I had this white '70s suit. Matching tuck suit. So I was like, oh, you know what? I want to do Steve Martin. And so I bought bunny ears and did this costume. Oop, not that costume. This costume. For Halloween. But then after I thought about it, that was 2 months before Halloween, I heard the book was coming out, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. It'll, be pertinent when Halloween comes around, and whatever. So then I remember seeing in the paper that Steve Martin was going to be discussing his book at, I think it was Barnes and Noble or Borders. No, I think it was Barnes and Noble up in near Lincoln Center in Manhattan, and so I knew the date was coming up, and it turned out it was the weekend before Halloween, so right then. So I woke up that morning, and it was a Saturday morning, to go see him, and I was like, you know what I should do? And I started getting crazy, thinking, and I went down to Canal Street, and I bought a cheap white tie, and I went up to Lincoln Center, and I went in, and in order to get in to see Steve, you had to buy the book. Actually, it wasn't this book, though. It was his children's book that he just came out with, too. So I bought the book to get in, went in, big, huge line, took forever. I had to sit down, was waiting, and this woman there was like, no one can get anything signed except for the book. No albums, no any other things. I was like, oh no, what? I'm here, I bought the tie, I just bought the book to get the tie signed. That's the thing, I wanted to get the tie signed for my costume. But then I realized it was kind of dumb to have on the costume because it's like, look, I'm Steve Martin with my own signed tie. That doesn't make sense. But I wanted it anyway because, it's a good, thing to have, whatever. So I was sitting in the seat trying to figure out how am I going to do this? How am I going to get the tie signed? So I put it in this little black bag that I had around my wrist. I felt like an assassin. It was so awful. I was looking around, seeing where people were, who was going to attack me when I went to ask him about the tie. So I finally went up there and I got everything ready. I had the book out. I had the tie hanging just out of a bag on my wrist. Went up and I was like, Mr. Martin, you're great. I'm such a big fan of yours. And I'm actually going as the wild and crazy guy with bunny ears tonight for Halloween. He's like, oh, that's awesome, cool. And I was like, oh, yeah, thank you. Can you sign my tie? Boom! And I slammed the tie down in front of him, and he kind of was, taken aback and was like, and just signed it. And so, bum, 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 look at that! My own Steve Martin tie. I'm so cool. Anyway, but it was kind of fun. It was awesome meeting him, and maybe he'll probably remember the crazy tie guy in New York City that brought a tie to get signed. Anyway, that's how I roll, kiddies. All right, talk to you later. That's my story for now. Bye.